Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Dan Hiscock, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. This evening we are honoured to acknowledge High Commissioner for the United Kingdom, Her Excellency Dame Sarah McIntosh and her family, who are joining us for the ceremony. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Service Clubs Association, and we welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. Now, if you're able, I invite you all to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you. If you wish to and you're able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lance Corporal Maurice Hoare Barlow. Maurice was born in Brisbane on the 10th of January 1923, the son of Clerk of the Petty Sessions Office, James Barlow, and his wife, Zita. The Barlows were a large family with at least 5 sons and 2 daughters. Maurice was among the youngest. Maurice was privately educated at the Christian Brothers College in Brisbane. What he really excelled in, however, was sport. Maurice was well known in rugby union circles in Brisbane, where he represented the Christian Brothers Old Boys Association. He was also a strong swimmer who won various contests. After leaving school, Maurice worked as a shop assistant at Allen & Stark Limited, where he was popular with colleagues and customers alike. When war broke out in September 1939, Maurice was 16 years old. While he was not old enough to enlist, the war soon affected his family. 4 of his brothers enlisted in the army, with 2 going on to fight in the Middle East and 2 at advanced Australian battle stations. Just after his 19th birthday, Maurice was called up for the Citizens Military Force. He was sworn in on the 24th of February 1942 in his hometown of Brisbane. Private Barlow was now liable for military service across Australia and in parts of the Southwest Pacific area. Maurice was first stationed at General Details Depot in Brisbane. 2 days later, he was assigned to the 29th Infantry Training Battalion, stationed at Goondiwindi, along the New South Wales-Queensland border. Maurice did well in his training and was promoted to Lance Corporal in no less than 2 months. In accordance with his new role as a junior non-commissioned officer, he attended a section leaders course in July and August. In October, he was transferred to the 4th Infantry Training Battalion stationed at Glen Innes. Lance Corporal Barlow continued his training as a junior leader by leading a small number of privates through their own training. On the 1st of January 1943, men of the 4th Infantry Training Battalion were likely just getting back into their training routine after the holiday season. Included in the training session that day was the crossing of the Beardy River. River crossing was a necessary skill to learn for jungle warfare. When a soldier crosses a river, he has the extra weight of his uniform, boots, rifle, and other equipment to deal with. He cannot allow his rifle to get wet. To make matters worse, the Beardy River was flooded and moving quickly. Lance Corporal Barlow had crossed the river with several others. However, from the shore, he witnessed a group of his comrades struggling against the strong current. Being a strong swimmer, Maurice dropped his equipment and dove into the water to save his friend, Private Vincent Kelly, who had slipped into deep water. Barlow swam 20 feet to reach him. When Maurice got to Private Kelly, the drowning soldier grasped him in desperation and the 2 disappeared under the water. A 3rd soldier, Private Josie, attempted to rescue Maurice but was unable to make it in time. Private Josie sustained injuries and had to be taken to hospital. The 3rd soldier to drown was Private Edgar Woolger. Several other men were swept away by the strong currents but were saved. The bodies of Private Woolger and Kelly were found that evening by police and army divers. They still had their heavy equipment strapped to them. Maurice's body was found several days later while his father stood nearby on the riverbank. Maurice Barlow was 19 years old. He was buried alongside his comrades in Glen Innes War Cemetery. The commanding officer wrote to the Barlows describing their son's heroism. In spite of the fact that he had cleared the river himself, he unhesitatingly went in to the aid of his pal, thus sacrificing his own life. May it be some comfort to you to know that your son died nobly and heroically. Maurice's father visited Private Josie in hospital, thanking him for his efforts to save his son. Maurice was the only Barlow son to die during his wartime service. For many years, The family commemorated his death with loving messages published in their local paper. They always mentioned that they were proud of their son for attempting to save his friend. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his headstone is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lance Corporal Maurice Hoare Barlow, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope for a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We'll leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, the staff and the volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. I wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.